Am I the asshole for laughing in my sister-in-law's face after she DNA tested my daughter? My name is Evan, and I'm 30 years old. I live a pretty ordinary life. I work a stable job, pay my bills on time, and try to stay out of people's drama. But recently, I found myself right in the middle of something. Something ridiculous, something painful, and something that made me laugh harder than I have in years. And yes, that laughter may have made me look like a complete jerk. I have a daughter named Lily. She's 6 years old. She's brilliant, kind, silly, obsessed with dinosaurs, and she's the light of my life. But no, she's not biologically mine. Not even a little bit. But I am her father in every single way that matters. People who hear that usually assume I'm her adoptive dad, which is true, but some people still get weird about it. You know the kind, the ones who think real parents have to share blood. That love is somehow less valid if it's not genetic. Let me be clear from the start. Lily is my daughter. She calls me dad. I tuck her in every night. I pack her lunch every morning. And I've been there for her since before she could even walk. But I wasn't always her dad. I became her dad under some of the worst circumstances imaginable. It all started with Amanda. Amanda was my best friend. We met in elementary school. I was the quiet, bookish kid. She was loud, full of mischief, always getting us into trouble. She was sunshine in human form, the kind of person who lit up any room she walked into. People always thought we'd end up dating, maybe even get married. We didn't. We were just soul friends. More than siblings, less than lovers, perfectly in between. Amanda met Chris in college. He was calm, patient, and grounded her like no one else ever could. He had this quiet strength, and though I was protective of her at first, he won me over fast. He made her happy, and that was all I cared about. They got married a year after graduation, and not long after, Amanda got pregnant. I remember the day she told me. She was practically vibrating with excitement. "You're going to be the best uncle ever," she said, hugging me with tears in her eyes. And then Lily was born. The first time I held her, she was barely minutes old. Amanda was tired but glowing. Chris was already in love with this little bundle, and I felt something shift in me. I didn't realize it at the time, but that moment changed my entire life. For 3 months, everything was perfect. And then it wasn't. Amanda and Chris both worked in the same office building downtown. On a rainy Tuesday morning, they kissed Lily goodbye, dropped her off at daycare, and went to work like it was any other day. It wasn't. That afternoon, a former employee, angry, unstable, and armed, walked into the building. There was a shooting. Amanda and Chris were both killed. I got the call while I was reheating leftovers in my apartment. I remember dropping the plate. I don't even think I moved for hours after that. Shock, grief, disbelief. None of those words feel big enough to describe what I felt. My best friend, gone. Chris, gone. And Lily was just 3 months old. At the hospital, a nurse handed her to me. She was sleeping, peaceful, oblivious to the storm around her. And in that moment, I knew. There was no way I was letting her go to strangers. No foster system. No scrambling to find distant relatives. She had lost her parents. She wasn't going to lose everyone else, too. Amanda and Chris had no siblings. Their families were complicated, abusive, neglectful, or absent entirely. There was no next of kin. No one else willing or able to take Lily. So I stepped in. The social worker looked me in the eye and said, "You understand this is a permanent decision." I didn't blink. "She's coming home with me." I wasn't ready. My apartment wasn't baby-proofed. I didn't know how to sterilize bottles or change diapers properly. I didn't own a car seat, but I didn't care. I went to the store, bought what I needed, and did the best I could. It was chaos, messy, exhausting, and overwhelming. But I never once doubted that I made the right choice. I legally adopted Lily by the time she was 1. I held her in the courtroom, answered every question from the judge, and signed every paper. I was officially, legally, permanently her father. Everyone in my family knew. My parents helped with babysitting, brought over food, did the laundry when I was too tired to move. My siblings, even Jason, were shocked at first but eventually came around. They all knew the story. There were no secrets. Lily grew up knowing she was adopted. I never hid it. I told her birth parents loved her very much and that something very bad happened. She knows they're in heaven. She knows I stepped in because I loved her and because they would have wanted that. And she's happy. She's thriving. She calls me Daddy, with the kind of confidence and warmth that can only come from real love. She draws us holding hands in her school pictures. She kisses my cheek and tells me I make the best peanut butter sandwiches in the world. And then Harper came into the picture. My younger brother, Jason, started dating Harper a couple years ago. She's sharp, opinionated, and always has to be the smartest person in the room. She's the kind of person who prides herself on figuring people out. I never liked that about her. The way she scrutinized people like she was always hunting for a hidden motive. Still, I kept things polite. She wasn't outright rude, just a little too nosy for my comfort. Fast forward to a recent Sunday dinner at my parents' house. The whole family was there. Lily was playing in the backyard with her cousins while the adults caught up over drinks and snacks. At one point, Harper wandered over to the hallway where my mom keeps all the old family photos. I didn't think much of it. Everyone does it. But then I noticed her staring at a particular picture. It was one of the three of us, me, Amanda, and Chris. It was from Amanda's graduation. We were all smiling, arms around each other, full of life. Harper called me over. "Who's this?" she asked, pointing to Amanda. "That's Amanda," I said. "Lily's biological mom." Her brow furrowed. "So, Lily's not yours?" "She is," I replied. "I adopted her after Amanda and Chris passed." She didn't say anything for a long moment. Then she mumbled, "Oh," and walked away. I thought that was the end of it. It wasn't. A week later, Harper and Jason showed up at my house unannounced. Lily was coloring at the coffee table, humming to herself. I invited them in, a little confused, but not suspicious. Harper was holding a folder. She handed it to me. Inside was a printed report from a DNA testing company. "I did a test," she said. I blinked. "A what?" She didn't flinch. "I swabbed Lily's cup and used Jason's DNA. I wanted to see if she was really family." I stared at her. "It came back with no relation," she continued. "She's not your daughter. You've been raising some dead woman's affair baby, and no one thought to question it." Lily looked up from her drawing. "Daddy." She had heard that, and that was the moment I snapped. Not in anger, in laughter. I laughed. It wasn't because it was funny. It wasn't mockery. It was that kind of disbelieving, slightly unhinged laugh that bursts out when something is so absurd you don't know what else to do. "You do know adoption exists, right?" I said. Harper blinked. "You seriously went behind my back, stole a DNA sample from my 6-year-old, ran a test without my permission and thought what? That I was lying? That I didn't know? That I kidnapped someone else's child?" Her face turned red. She opened her mouth, but nothing came out. "I adopted her. Everyone knows that. My parents, my friends, my co-workers. Jason knows that." Jason looked away. I picked up Lily. She was confused, a little scared. I told her everything was fine. I brought her upstairs, put on her favorite cartoon, and sat with her until she smiled again. Then I came back down. "You don't get to waltz in here with a piece of paper and accuse me of some grand deception," I said. "You don't get to talk about Lily like she's some scandal to be exposed. She's a child. She's my daughter. And what you did, it's disgusting." "I just wanted to be sure," Harper whispered. "It felt weird." "Weird," I scoffed. "You thought you were the main character in some drama you invented. You decided that because Lily doesn't look like me, there had to be some dirty secret." Jason finally spoke. "You embarrassed her, Evan." I turned on him. "She embarrassed herself." They left after that. No apology. No remorse. Just silence. That night I couldn't sleep. Lily had long since nodded off, clutching her favorite stuffed bunny, the glow of her nightlight washing the room in soft warmth. I stood in her doorway for a long time, just watching her breathe. She looked so peaceful, so safe. But I couldn't shake Harper's voice from my mind. "She's not your daughter." It echoed like a bad dream. I thought about every moment I'd spent raising Lily. Her first steps, her first words, the way she once put her tiny hands on my cheeks and said, "You're my hero, Daddy." No DNA test could touch that. No paper could erase the bond we shared. I wasn't just raising Lily, I had built a life around her. The next day, I called my parents and told them everything. They were horrified. My mom cried. My dad wanted to drive to Jason's house and give him a piece of his mind. Friends, too, the ones who had been around since day one, were outraged. Some were shocked that Harper would go so far. Others weren't surprised. "She always gave off that energy," one said, "like she was waiting to catch someone in a lie." And still no apology. Not from Harper. Not from Jason. Instead, I got texts, messages trying to justify her behavior, saying she was just trying to protect the family, or that she didn't mean to hurt anyone. But she did. She hurt my daughter. She violated her privacy. She stood in my home and tried to reduce my entire relationship with Lily to a science experiment. And for what? Even if Lily had been the result of some secret affair, what would that have changed? I still chose her. I still raised her. I still love her more than anything in this world. I haven't spoken to Harper or Jason since. I don't know if I ever will. Part of me still laughs about it. Not because it's funny, but because it's so wildly absurd. That someone could look at a family built on love and try to shatter it with a cotton swab and a printout. And part of me is still angry. Not for me, but for Lily. Because she didn't deserve to be caught in someone else's ego trip. So, to anyone who's listening, watching this story, thinking about whether I was out of line, let me ask you, am I the asshole for laughing in my sister-in-law's face after she DNA tested my daughter?